the quiet financial disaster of divorce that no one puts in the content, our real numbers. The divorce was already filed before you realized you hadn't lost a single dollar to bad decisions, and that's exactly what made it so devastating. You didn't gamble, you didn't get scammed, you just signed one document, and $400,000 disappeared so legally, so quietly that no one would ever call it what it actually was. Let that number sit. Not $400,000 in legal fees, not lawyers, not court filings, $400,000 in total financial destruction. Money you earned, money you saved, money that was silently compounding in the background of your life, building something you couldn't yet see. Gone, not stolen, not lost, legally divided, redistributed, and erased across 18 months of paperwork. This is the story nobody in personal finance wants to tell you because it's messy, because it makes people uncomfortable, because it involves two people and blame and emotion and all the things that finance content pretends don't exist. But here's what you need to understand before we go any further. This isn't about marriage. This isn't relationship advice. This is a forensic breakdown of what divorce actually does to a financial life. Real numbers, real timelines, and a calculation so honest it should be taught in every personal finance class in the country. It isn't, so we're doing it here. You're 28 years old. You did everything right, married your college girlfriend at 25. Combined incomes made everything easier. Rent split, groceries split, the kind of household efficiency they call the marriage premium. You're earning $95,000. She's at $72,000. Together, a $167,000 a year household with one mortgage, one utility bill, one life. You buy the house at 26, 3 bedrooms, reasonable neighborhood, $340,000. You put down $68,000, everything you'd saved since your first job out of college. You contribute 14% to your 401k. Employer matches 6%. You don't think about it much. It just sits there, quietly doing what compound interest does when nobody's watching. By 28, your 401k has $47,000 in it. Your joint savings account has $31,000. Your home equity, because you bought before the market moved, is sitting at roughly $90,000. You have $168,000 in net wealth. You're 28. You're ahead of almost everyone you know, and you have no idea what's coming. The first sign wasn't a fight. It was a silence. The kind that fills a house even when two people are still in it. You come home on a Tuesday in October, and she's sitting at the kitchen table with her laptop open, and she doesn't look up. You make dinner. You eat on opposite ends of the couch. You go to bed without speaking. You tell yourself it's stress, work, the season changing, something. You tell yourself this for 14 more months. And then she says it quietly on a Sunday morning, holding a coffee mug with both hands like she's cold, even though the heat is on. She says she wants a divorce. For exactly 17 seconds, you feel nothing, just white noise. And then the feeling hits, and it isn't sadness first. It isn't anger first. Your first conscious thought, the one that cuts through everything else, is, what does this do to the house? Here's where the financial clock starts, and most people have no idea how fast it ticks. Month 1, you call a divorce attorney. You've never needed a lawyer for anything in your life. The consultation alone is $300 just to talk. The attorney explains that in your state, everything acquired during the marriage is marital property. The house, the savings, the retirement accounts, even the appreciation on your 401k that happened while you were married, split. The retainer to begin the process, $5,000. Just to start, she hires her own attorney, another $5,000 retainer on her end. Already, before a single document has been filed, $10,000 has left two people's pockets, before a single decision has been made. And this is the uncontested version, the version where two adults decide to be civil. Month 2, you move out of the house. Living together during the proceedings is unsustainable, emotionally, legally, practically. You find an apartment, 1 bedroom, $1,450 a month. But you're still paying your half of the mortgage on the marital home, $10,080, because the mortgage doesn't care that your marriage is ending. The mortgage doesn't have feelings. You are now paying $2,630 a month in housing costs for one person. Your previous housing cost was $640 a month. You're half of the joint mortgage. You've more than quadrupled your housing expense overnight. And this is the thing nobody talks about. The duplicate costs. When one household becomes two, every single fixed expense doubles. 2 electric bills, 2 sets of furniture, because she kept most of it, 2 grocery runs, 2 insurance policies. You need a second car because you shared one and she needs it for work. In the first 6 months of separation, before anything is finalized, you spend $26,000 more than you would have spent living together. This isn't debt. This is cash, real money, evaporating from your accounts to cover the basic cost of existing as a single person in an economy that was built to reward couples. Month 7. The real negotiations begin. The house has appreciated. It's now worth $415,000. Your remaining mortgage balance is $265,000. Equity, $150,000. Your attorney explains it's marital property. It will be split. You have 2 options. Sell the house and divide the proceeds. Or one of you buys the other out. You want to keep the house, so you offer her $75,000 cash for her share of the equity, which means you need $75,000, which means you liquidate the joint savings account $31,000, which means you still need $44,000 more. You take it from your 401k. Stop. This is the moment that changes everything. And most people who haven't been through this don't understand why. You withdraw $44,000 from your 401k. The government hits you with a 10% early withdrawal penalty, $4,400. Then you pay income tax on the full amount as regular income. At your bracket, that's another $9,680. So you pay $14,080 in taxes and penalties just to access money you already earned and already paid taxes on when you earned it. You net $29,120 from a $44,000 withdrawal. You pull $15,080 from a personal loan to cover the gap. And now you own the house, but you are almost completely financially reset. 28 years old, living in a house that feels like a museum to a life that's over, with $3,000 in savings and a personal loan charging you 11% interest. Month 11, the legal bill arrives. Your attorney fees, $18,400. Her attorney fees, $14,200. Total legal cost of this divorce, $32,600. The cooperative version, the uncontested, both adults trying to be reasonable version, the average contested divorce, where someone fights the asset split or someone gets vindictive, runs $50,000 to $100,000 per person. Now for the number that doesn't show up on any invoice. Your 401k before the divorce, $47,000. After the early withdrawal penalty, the taxes, and the agreed split of marital retirement assets, you leave the process with $11,000 in your retirement account. $11,000, you're 29 years old. But here's what the invoice cannot show you. Here's the number that should stop you cold. That $47,000 left alone and untouched, compounding at the market's historical average for the next 36 years until you're 65, would have become $540,000. You didn't lose $47,000. You lost $40,000. And that's before we calculate what you would have kept contributing, before we calculate the compounding on the equity you spent, before we calculate the income disruption, because for 8 months during the proceedings, your work performance degraded. You missed a promotion cycle. Conservatively, $12,000 in lost income, $3,000 in performance bonuses, gone. Add the legal fees, the duplicate household costs, the tax penalties, the lost compounding on retirement assets, the missed career advancement, the equity consumed. The total cost of this divorce in real dollars projected to retirement age is $412,000 for a marriage that lasted 3 years. Here's what I want you to sit with. Not the numbers, not the mechanics, the decisions, not the decision to divorce. Some marriages should end, and not everything that breaks was a mistake. But the decisions inside the marriage, the ones that felt small, the decision to combine finances completely without a prenuptial agreement, not because prenups are romantic, but because without one, you had no legal tool to protect a single dollar you built before the relationship. The decision to keep one income stream in one name and one in the other, an imbalance that the courts then had to correct for you. The decision to skip maxing your individual retirement account, the one account that would have remained entirely yours regardless of marital property law. The decision to wait 14 months inside a deteriorating marriage because the conversation was uncomfortable. 14 months of compounding that wasn't happening. 14 months of joint financial decisions that would later become ammunition in a negotiation. None of these felt like financial decisions at the time. They felt like relationship decisions, lifestyle decisions, emotional decisions, but every single one had a dollar amount attached to it. You just couldn't see it yet. Here's the thing about divorce and compound interest. They operate on the same principle. Both are invisible until they're not. Both are painfully slow and then shockingly fast. Both are the result of hundreds of small decisions that seem unrelated until the math reveals the pattern. The difference is that compound interest builds. Divorce compounds destruction. The average American couple loses between 30% and 77% of their household net worth in a divorce. That number isn't widely reported. You won't see it trending. Personal finance creators won't touch it because it makes people feel judged and there's no product to sell at the end. But it's real. And it happens to people who are smart, careful, successful. People who thought the financial risks in their lives lived in the markets. You rebuild. You always rebuild. By 34, the savings account is restocked. You're contributing aggressively to retirement again. Smaller place, doing fine. People who meet you now would never know. But you carry a private calculation, the number nobody else knows, the net worth you would have today if the compounding had never been interrupted. The version of yourself that exists only in a spreadsheet. That version is worth $240,000 more than the real one. Not because you made a financial mistake, because a life decision had a financial consequence that nobody warned you about with real numbers. So here they are, and what's the real numbers? Look at them, not to fear love, not to approach every relationship like a legal contract, but to understand with complete clarity that the financial architecture of your life is built inside your personal decisions, and the most expensive decisions you will ever make will never feel like money decisions when you're making them. They will just feel like life.